Submission may be one of the scariest disciplines for a lot of people. If you've ever been abused or taken advantage of, whether physically or emotionally, you might wonder what good, if any, the discipline of submission can do in a person's life. After all, submission sounds weak. It sounds like someone who is not willing to stand up for themselves, or someone who fears conflict and lets other people push them around because of it. Although there are definitely times when you need to stand up for yourself and question the decisions of those who are in authority over you in order to hold them accountable, we should not be looking for ways to undermine those people, and we should learn to respect both their position and the wisdom they have to offer us. The best way for us to understand why submitting to authority is important is to think about it from the perspective of the person who has the authority over us. If you were in their shoes, how would you feel about the people who are under your care, questioning every decision you made and hearing them talk about you behind your back? It would make your life miserable and increase the burden you bear. Let's use an example that all of us can relate to. When you were a child, how often did you disagree with the decisions your parents made, or the rules that they enforced? If you were like me, there were probably plenty of times where you would say something to yourself like, "When I'm a parent, I'll let my kids stay up as late as they want and eat whatever they want." As we grew up, though, we begin to realize why our parents enforce certain rules and why it would have been better to simply submit to their authority instead of yelling at them about it or throwing temper tantrums. So think about the people who have been placed in authority over you right now. What was it that led them to that position? Did they have to work hard for it? Maybe they had to study for many years to get where they are now. Even if you disagree with some of the decisions they make, there's still the fact that they've earned the position that they're in. Because of this, we should show them respect and work on helping make their life easier instead of trying to undermine them. After all, you're both on the same team, and if they fail, you do too. This is what submission does. It recognizes that those in authority over us also have a greater burden to bear because of that authority. We don't have to carry that burden because they carry it for us. And since we're on the same team, we help them to carry that burden by listening to them and working together with them instead of trying to cut them down. There are also different kinds of submission than just submitting to a boss or a parent. It's also important to place our body under our own submission. This includes things like eating healthy, exercising, and going to bed at a decent time. This is another kind of submission where you are placing your physical body in submission to the authority of your mind. In the same way, we can also place our mind, which includes the things we think about and the attitudes we have, under the authority of God's Spirit living in us, so that our thoughts and attitudes align with principles of Scripture. This is truly the greatest kind of submission of all, submitting to the will of God over our lives. This is not a form of bondage, but rather a pathway to freedom. When we submit ourselves to God's will, we are no longer controlled by our own destructive desires. We can instead live in a way that gives us joy and peace instead of desperation and regret. Submission, if put into practice properly, does not diminish the influence we have over our life. Rather, it helps us build a greater foundation to stand on by allowing us to see the bigger picture instead of making poor decisions based on our limited perspective. If you'd like to talk to me more about this subject, or you have a question you'd like me to address, you can contact me through the Sermon in the Pocket Facebook page or email me at sermoninthepocket@gmail.com. And if you like this program and want to support it, you can pledge a monthly support on my Patreon page. And I encourage you to share this with family and friends who you think would enjoy listening to it or benefit from it. Either way, thank you for taking the time to listen, and have a wonderful day.